Have you ever wondered how the monstrosity that is Vegemite was made? Well, let's look into it and find out about the man who created Vegemite.
What's one thing that Australians love to eat on their toast for breakfast? An umami-flavoured, vitamin B-packed, tar black, salty spread. Vegemite.
All of that is an under-exaggeration there with the taste. However, I would say not all Australians like Marmite. We shouldn't be generalising too much because I'm sure there are plenty of Australians that think that black axle grease looking stuff is horrible. So let's not generalise too much, but let's explore.
This spread is said to be found in 9 out of 10 homes in Australia and is
Probably.
a point of national pride. But how was this soliferous spread created? How did it become so popular? And what does it taste like?
I can tell you what it tastes like. I did a 10,000 subscriber celebration video, so if you want to look, that'll be in the end cards at the end. It's not good viewing.
Our story begins in the late 19th century with this guy, Eustace von Liebig. Old mate Eustace discovered that yeast extract left over from brewing beer could be concentrated down into something that was somewhat edible. A few years later, in 1902, in Burton-upon-Trent, England, the Marmite Extract Company was formed, which produced Marmite, an edible salty yeast paste developed from Eustace's discovery.
So straight away, Marmite and Vegemite is basically a waste product. You are eating a waste product. I suppose. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Thinking that black axle grease is just waste from beer.
Sales of Marmite were pretty good, and in 1908, the Sanitarium Health Food Company, known today for another iconic Aussie breakfast food.
What? It's skipped across. I need to see what it was.
Sanitarium Health Food Company, known today for
Wheat Bix. Good pause timing there. It is known for Wheat Bix, which is the same as our Weetabix.
Another iconic Aussie breakfast food, bought the rights to distribute Marmite in New Zealand and Australia. During World War I, the supply of Marmite to Australia dried up. So in 1922, in Melbourne, a man called Fred Walker commissioned the chemist Cyril Callister to come up with an alternate salty yeast spread.
So Cyril Callister is the man to blame. This is the man that thought, do you know what? Marmite, yeah, I like it, but let's make it even stronger tasting. This man should have been locked up for crimes that he committed.
Callister got to work using the leftover yeast extracts from the local Carlton United breweries. After several months, he perfected his recipe using onion and celery extracts and loads of salt.
It can't be good
The invention
for you.
needed a name. So in 1923, a competition was run to name the new spread. The winning entry was pulled from a hat, and Vegemite was born.
See, it's surely with all that salt, that cannot be good for you. And I love the packaging, which is like B vitamins for vitality. Like, this is good for you. Yeah, it won't cause you any problems, except salt intake will be through the roof.
And then nearly tanked. Since the war coming to an end, the original Marmite was back on shelves, and Australians were wary of the new kid on the block. In 1928, following dwindling sales and in one of the most cringe-inducing marketing fails known to humankind, Walker rebranded Vegemite as Pa Will. Because if Ma might, Pa will. The experiment was short-lived,
Genius.
although this wouldn't be the last time Vegemite was the victim of a branding snafu.
Vegemite iSnack 2.0? What the hell is that? It's like, could they make it any worse? Yes, they could. Let's give it a try.
After the unrebrand, Walker decided to give the spread away free with processed cheese. This catapulted the popularity of Vegemite because, hey, who doesn't like free stuff anyway? A few years later, Vegemite was added to the ration packs for Australian soldiers during World War II. Vegemite quickly became a patriotic symbol during wartime, and this further boosted its popularity back home. Kraft Foods eventually took over control of Vegemite and manufactured it for over 80 years. But in January 2017, Vegemite's owners became Australian once again, when Bega Cheese acquired Vegemite as part of a $460 million deal with Kraft.
Cool.
In 2018, Vegemite is still being produced in Melbourne, Australia. So what does this delicious black sticky paste called Vegemite taste like? Well, salty. Vegemite has a salt content of approximately 8.6%. For comparison, the average salinity of seawater is 3.5%.
Jesus Christ.
Vegemite is also high in glutamic acid, which gives it a rich umami flavour. If you don't know what umami is, it's that deep, savoury flavour that Parmesan cheese, miso soup, and MSG have in common.
Oh, some good old MSG. We all love MSG. I'm literally about to go use some MSG for my lunch, actually.
In 2011, US President Obama had this to say about Vegemite. It's horrible. It's like a quasi-vegetable byproduct paste that you smear on your toast for breakfast. But Australians enjoy this beloved spread in multiple ways. The most common way is on toast with loads of butter.
So, right, I'm going to tell you from this picture, okay? So, when I tasted Vegemite, I spread it, I thought, fairly thinly. As I said, you can watch that video in the end cards. It will show you at the end. Now, mine was nowhere near as thick as that. And everyone was like, oh, you spread it too thick. And they were, everyone moaning at me. And I'm like, how can I spread it any thinner? That looks like it's been poured on. Even though Vegemite can't be poured unless it's possibly heated up. So, confused.
Thin layer of Vegemite on top. Other ways.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's so funny. That is so funny. I've not seen this video. That was some really good pause timing there. Because maybe that's how thin it needs to be.
Included in a sandwich with cheese,
so funny.
With avocado on toast, or baked into a cheesy scroll. And finally, Vegemite has spawned many branded spin-offs, the most noteworthy of which was in 2015, when Cadbury created an unbelievably strange and weirdly delicious bar of chocolate that was filled with Vegemite-flavoured caramel.
No.
Needless to say, this experiment was divisive and short-lived, but demonstrated the versatility of this Australian staple.
That doesn't show diversity, did it? Just because they put it in something else doesn't mean it worked. No way would Vegemite go with chocolate. The only thing I think Vegemite may go well with is in a sort of maybe a stew or a bolognese and use a little bit for that umami flavour. But anything else, no. Chocolate.
So that's the story of Vegemite, Australia's mighty black spread with a colourful intercontinental history. I've linked some Vegemite.
That'll do. So basically, it was a replacement for Marmite, and old Cyril thought he would up his game and make it even stronger. And Marmite is vile as it is. As I said, if you haven't already seen my 10k celebration of me trying and comparing Marmite to Vegemite, and I wore a mullet, which is also vile, then feel free to look. Sorry, I'm not gonna kiss ass this time, and because Vegemite is just not very nice. And there's plenty of Australians that don't think it is very nice too. May I add. So, thank you so much for watching. It's incredible how I think the main thing that made this Australian is putting it in the army packs, the food rations for the army soldiers. I think that is the main cause that made it Australian. So it's interesting. It's interesting how that could cause such a strong connection from Australians to Vegemite. It's pretty interesting stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go and check out my 10k celebration video where I compared Vegemite and Marmite. And I will catch you next time. Oh, and don't forget, like and subscribe.